She is also the president of the Bruin Club of Genesee County, Mott Athletic Boosters, advisor for the GSA on campus, and advisor of the National Society of Leadership and Success at Thumb Correctional Facility, where she works with Second Chance Pell inmates. Katie's goal is to compete in the International Speech Contest and move back to a warmer climate. Speech, the dark side of publicity. Katie, thank you. Come on, guys!
Yay, all right.
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, distinguished guests, and people who generally just enjoy listening to me. I am going to talk with you today about the dark side of publicity. There was once a man who said that there is no such thing as bad publicity. That can be attributed to P.T. Barnum. Perhaps you've heard of him. His theory was that no matter what kind of press you received, even if it was negative, that was good press. That was part of his brand. He created a lot of different avenues for people to say, that's some crazy stuff right there. Is that even true? Because he felt any press, any publicity was good for him. Oscar Wilde, on the other hand, an Irish poet and author, said the only thing worse than not being talked about, or than being talked about, is not being talked about. The irony is all of the talk about Oscar Wilde ultimately became his ruin. You can see good press, good publicity, dark publicity. There's also a TV show from the 90s called Absolutely Fabulous, one of my favorites. It's out of Britain. There's a woman in there named Adina Moon, and her entire job was PR. I can do PR for you. I can do PR for you. You need good publicity. Obnoxious publicity worked out well. Ridiculous publicity worked out well. Her life was always in a shambles because not all publicity is good publicity. Back during the heyday of Hollywood, you may recall, if you are an IMDb fan like I am, that the studios would do whatever they could to suppress bad publicity with their stars. Not to help their stars, but rather to help the studios. Eddie Fisher and Liz Taylor and their torrid affair when he tore her away from Debbie, or she tore him away from Debbie, they tried to keep that on the down low. Judy Garland and her addiction to pills and her addiction to alcohol, they kept that on the down low. They wanted their stars to make them money. There are occasions in old Hollywood when a star would be tossed onto the pyre. Fatty Arbuckle is a really great example of that. In the 20s, he was the most prevalent silent star. And there came a time when he was associated with a scandal. The press wanted somebody to vilify. They needed somebody to crucify. And the studio was very happy to allow Fatty Arbuckle to be their scapegoat. I will mention that it has been proven that he did not actually sexually assault anybody. He was merely the scapegoat for the studio. And that gave the studio good press. There began to be a shift in Hollywood with some newer stars in the last 25, 35 years, where dark publicity, bad publicity, became the good thing. I'll give you an example. I'll give you several examples. Reese Witherspoon pulled over for drunk driving and looked up at the officer and said, "Do you know my name?" However, that bit of dark publicity ultimately worked in her favor because she was moving out of the young, beautiful girl role into something a little meatier. And that helped propel her career as she moved into things like Cruel Intentions. Miley Cyrus, another great example. She started doing some drinking. She started carousing around. People started talking. She used that platform of dark publicity to make her next album go triple platinum. And she became a bigger star than Hannah Montana could ever have made her. You may say to yourself, that's great about the women. What about the dudes? I will give you 3 words. Robert Downey Jr. In jail for drugs, constantly in trouble for drugs, couldn't even do some movies because he was so addled with drugs. Changed his life around, took that dark publicity, made himself into Iron Man. And who didn't cry at the end of Iron Man when he sacrificed his life for dear Tom Holland, Spider-Man? Corporations have also had a lot of struggles as well. Taco Bell, Tylenol, just to name a few. Did you know that Taco Bell was, in the early 2000s, told that they only had 35% meat in their meat product? They used that to parlay into an entire campaign about what all of their ingredients were. Tylenol revolutionized the world and gave us tamper-proof packaging. I still can't get into a bottle of Tylenol to this very day. But what happens when the PR, that dark publicity, comes to your front door? So if you didn't see the news this weekend, Mott Community College, my home, had an incident at a basketball game. Flint has a lot of black eyes. Water crisis, people leaving, GM leaving. And a lot of the publicity that I was seeing online that first day was, those kids in Flint, they know all about gunfire. They're probably fine with it.
Oh, you're kidding. Sorry.
What I would say to you is, when that dark publicity comes to your front door and starts knocking, what is your role going to be in all of this? You have to begin to parlay this into a rosy picture. And that is what my college has been doing the last several days. Putting in additional security, putting in weapons detectors, making sure that every single one of our students, staff, and faculty has access to mental health care to make sure that we are whole, that we are comfortable, that we are not afraid. Because it doesn't matter what part of the country you live in, whether you live in the inner city of Flint, you live in Detroit, you live out in Alma. We all have to make sure that we're taking that dark publicity that comes to our front door and we're making it into something that is a brighter future for all. Thank you.
Thank you. So I didn't hear about what happened. What happened? Now I need to know.
2 young men decided that gun violence was the path that they were going to